Hello everyone. This is Paul from Traction School of Governance and Business. Remember we are located at Nairobi, Moi Avenue, Pioneer House, 5th floor. And basically this is School of ICT from Department of ICT, where we deal with ICT short courses and long-term courses such as data analysis, both quantitative and qualitative. We have data science, we have AI, we have machine learning, we have software development, we have web development, and also we have graphic design, etc. So you can visit our site at www. Type that. Or you can email us at info@sgb.ac.ke. In the previous session, we covered data analysis in Excel, and basically whatever we were looking at, we were trying to come up with an interactive dashboard using Excel. And today, I want us to look at data analysis using Python, and basically specifically we'll be using Jupyter. It's an environment in Python that is used by data scientists and data analysts. Also, it is used for machine learning. It is used for artificial intelligence, etc. Basically, it's a substitute for Python, and basically I recommend using Jupyter because it is the interaction with the interaction between the machine and the operator is actually simple. It's simple to use. So I want us to look at a data. This is gold data that was collected from 2023 up to 2025. So what we'll be doing today, we'll be doing data cleaning using Python, and I believe by the end of this session you should be able to do data cleaning using Jupyter, and realize this is more into data science. Whatever we are doing here, it's actually data analysis, but more specifically it's a branch in data science. So we're going to dive deep into this Jupyter environment, and we'll be doing, or rather we'll be getting dirty with coding. And yes, it's quite simple to understand and to memorize. Yes. So let us now begin with in uploading the data in our environment. Once we upload that data, you're going to see values that are inconsistent, or things that we really need to clean from our data so that we can have a desired output that will be ready for analysis. So I will be uploading our data. I want us to work with the gold data, and basically what you do when you want to upload your data, you simply go to this key, the file key, the file browser, you click it, and then you should be seeing an area appearing from your left. And then what you want, because your environment, your PC environment has not been included in this area, what you'll be doing, you'll be including, or rather uploading the data set in this environment. And how do you do that? You basically select this one, the upward arrow for upload files. You click, and then your file browser will open, where you'll now be selecting the file that you want to upload. So we give it some time. Yes, as you can see, our file browser has appeared, and what we want to do, we want to select gold data. So we'll go to downloads and then select, try to look for that data set, and here it is. Once you've located that data set, you click once and then click open, and you realize what will happen in this area. See that we've uploaded successfully the data set, and it's 1 second ago, and now we can work with this data. We can work with this data because it has been included in our environment. Now that we've uploaded the data in our environment, what we want to do will be reading that data. We want to read that data. And how do you do that? You'll just give that data a name. So we are going to call that name, or rather that data. And before we continue, we are going to use some libraries. So we are going to import Pandas. Basically, they are used for data analysis. So we'll import Pandas as PD, and then run that cell. Once it has run, you can now call out your data. We'll call it, or rather we'll name it file name, and then equals to open and closing marks, and then you can go ahead and write the name of that data, gold data.csv. And then once you're done, you've actually given your data a file name, or rather a name that is file name. You can go ahead and say we want to use Pandas. We want to call out that, or rather we want to highlight our data using Pandas. And how do you do that? We're going to call it a df row, basically implying that it's a data set that is raw. It's not, or rather, we've not cleaned that data, and then equals to pd.read. Basically, we want to read that data and display it in our environment, and then underscore csv, and then write file name, and then shift and enter to run that cell. Once you've done that, you've seen that we really don't have any error. If you ever code, or rather you write a code, and then once you run that cell, it doesn't give you any error. It simply means that whatever you were doing has been achieved successfully. Now what we want to do, we want to display our data. And how do we do that? We use .head. And for .head, basically it is used to display some data. It won't display the whole of that data because we limit that to 5 variables. So we'll write df. Remember, we've renamed our gold data.csv to df row. So we won't be calling gold data anymore. We'll be using df row, and then .head, and what you will see once we run this cell, you're going to see 5 items from our data set. And if you want to display more than 5 items, you can write defaultly or manually inside this brackets. So if we run this cell, we're going to see only 5 items. I run, and boom, here goes our data. We have our data, and we have 5 items, and you realize the first item in Python is never 1. You don't name, or rather you don't number your first item as 1 in Python. it is represented by value 0. So whenever you want to call an item, or rather item number 1, you basically don't use 1, you use 0. If you want to call more than 5 items, you can write 10 manually in that cell, and then once you run that, you're going to see 10 items, and basically we are going to have up to number 9 because 0 is recognized as a number in Python. Let us revert back to default 5. Now I want us to look at this data. This data, we cannot analyze this data the way it is because some variables are not recognized in Python. No analysis will happen as long as you have certain values. First of all, Python doesn't recognize this comma. So whenever you're writing a value that is thousands, you're not supposed to write a comma. So it should be 4,000 rather than 4 comma 000. So a comma is not recognized in Python. It is not recognized in Python. Another thing that we are going to get rid of is this case. The case represents that, or rather tries to imply that the value that is given under volume column is supposed to be multiplied by 1000. That is, if it has a k at the end of each value. If it has an m, you're going to multiply by 1 million. You're going to multiply by 1 million. Another thing we want to get rid of, the percentage. We want to get rid of the percentage because analysis won't happen when we have this percentage at the end of each value in column, or rather in this column, the change percentage column. So those are the 3 things that you're going to get rid of. And basically you realize there are different ways to deal with this kind of cleaning. You can opt to go step by step cleaning a certain aspect at once, or you can create a whole function, that you can run your whole data and automatically your data becomes clean. And I want us to use that route. I don't want us to use to go item by item. I want us to use, or rather to create a function that will help us clean our data and realize, or rather don't forget that our data is referred to as df row. So I want us to create a function. And what do? We are going to define a function referred to as clean financial data, basically. So what we do, we are going to define a function, and I believe we ran Pandas library. Yes. So we are going to define a function. So we write def or rather financial data. And then what we want to do, we want to return a function, or rather we want to return a variable where that variable will be used to basically clean the data that, or rather any data that we are going to include, as long as the attributes are one and the same thing with the data that we have. So we are going to return, we want to return df, basically.